I'm finally finished with all of my CAD work for all of the fans, or all the fan ducts. So the first model I found online, which I believe is this one right here, this was a real good design. The only problem that I had with it is the fact that at the end right here, it started to get burnt by my V6 hot end. This came out really well, but it still needed more refinement. And now I just threw it away. Sadly, I couldn't find an editable CAD model off of that, so I had to build that from the ground up. So if you see on my screen right now, this was the design that I was given off of the internet, and I used that to make this. Now obviously this is just a really simple sketch. I didn't do much with this. I pretty much just made the measurements from there, and I kept re-extruding and re-extruding and re-extruding until I got a clip that fit on perfectly. And so it took a lot of testing and refining, and I'll show you what that looks like right now.
Took a bit of redesigning. Pretty much it was just a whole bunch of 2D images extruded just 0.1 of an inch to see what I can get. And the design just kept changing, and then I finally started to get a really good layout and design.
But that was just horrible. That was the hardest part, getting the fitting right without any exact measurements. And I kept trying to measure, but I mean, of course, there's PLA shrinking and all these other things. I was just kind of like, man, this is difficult. After I did that, I developed Mark II. Mark II was the first extruded design that I have, and that's this one right here. So this came out really well for my first extruded design, but the only problem is at the end right here, it would actually scrape prints up as it was printing. So I'd be in the middle of a print job, the first layer would be laid down, and then it would just rip the entire print up. So that was useless too. So this is what the design looks like on the CAD file. Now I didn't put holes in the corners where the fan duct went, like the one I got off the internet. You can see how the loft kind of goes into the square right there, and then it goes into two more squares before it actually gets to the end. Because if you do a loft from the circle all the way to the end, it cuts through the actual object itself, and I couldn't have that. So then I designed Mark III. But I thought I needed to essentially make a bigger fan fit. And that's where Mark III technically comes in. And so Mark III was designed for a 60mm fan. It is just gigantic. And it fits the 60mm fan well. I might have some footage of that as well.
So this is the difference in the 40mm and the 60mm. And the 60mm is huge.
I reserved the item, I went to the store, and they said, sorry, we don't have it, we have to cycle count it. And I was like, so I decided it'd be a better idea to just get a 40mm fan with a high CFM, and that is what helps my printing. I haven't missed a single shot. This is nice. Alright, so after I got rid of Mark III, Mark IV was designed, and Mark IV was designed just like Mark III, except it was for a 40mm fan. So that's these two right here. And so these came out really well. I printed with these for a while. Sadly, these are solid. I used 100% infill, and so that was a lot of wasted filament. The texture came out perfect. Like this is, I don't even know if I can break this one because it is so strong. And so there was no reason for this to be all solid. Structures don't need to be that high on infill because they're pretty strong as it is anyways. Still haven't missed a shot. This is nice. Alright, so after I designed Mark IV, Mark IV was decent, but I made it solid, so that was, I decided to design Mark V, and Mark V is shown here. Now, Mark V, I didn't actually get to print out because there was no way to hold the clips in place. So I designed Mark VI around Mark V's design, and that is what I came out with right there. And this is a lot lighter than Mark IV. This design came out really well, it's just that it didn't hold the fan all that well. And so everything from Mark VI and above is pretty much just getting that fan nice and secure in there. Because this is all designed perfectly the way I want it to. And the airflow is great, but the fans just wouldn't hold. So I needed the fans to hold better. Cool. So then I designed Mark VII. Mark VII is obviously a lot like Mark VI, except Mark 7 has a closed design. And on Mark 7 I used translucent filament, mainly because I wanted to see the structure inside. When you put the fan in there, you actually just lock the fan in there on both sides, and you just mirror one image so that the wires can hang on the open side that's not an overhang. And one missed shot. Got that one though, so I'm okay with that. Mark 7, I printed with for a long time. I didn't have any problems with Mark 7 for the longest time. But then, when I decided to print a larger print, I realized that the highest I could print was 170 millimeters because the fan duct collided with the top of the build platform. So, that was kind of an issue. So I took Mark 7 and I just made it smaller, more compressed, and I made Mark 8. And it has the ability to go, I think, 30 millimeters higher into the print bed, which increased my size back to 200 millimeters because I had to decrease the size because I installed the fans, but then I wanted to keep the fans, so I wanted to make the fan smaller so I could print higher. This one, like I said, designed just like Mark 7. Mark 8 is smaller, but the only problem is right here at the top. And so it wasn't going to be able to hold the fan well. Also, when I went to go bend it into place, it kind of started to warp and wasn't all that strong. Notice I actually can break it from this piece right here. And this is where it all flexes. So this is the flex point right here. You want this to stay as flexible as possible, and obviously that was a weak point on this print, so I couldn't use this. So I used that for a little bit with, I missed that one. I used that one for a little bit with a Mark 7, just to get some prints down. And then I designed the first one with a rounded corner at the top. Mark 9 and Mark 10 both look very similar, as you can see on the screen right now. Except in Mark 10, which I believe is this one, I made the joint up here. Only problem was that made that part weaker. Not weak enough for me to break with my hand, of course. But it made it slightly less durable, so what I wanted to do in Mark 11 was take this exact same design, put a curve inside of it, and increase the height a little bit more so the fan can easily just clip into there. And also, this was having the same problem as like Mark 1, where the print would actually scrape on the bed. So this was a moderately useless design. So close. Good, and missed that one. So this is Mark 11. Mark 11 is the last one that I designed. They're just long enough to fit on the print head itself. They are short enough where they don't actually scrape prints up, and the way that the fan just slides into here is just glorious. I probably want to do some more redefining. I just don't have anything to redefine it with right now. So I'm not running into any problems with this. This is why I just stopped redesigning it. This came out the best, and I'll show you what it looks like on the printer in just a minute. So this is what I was saying with the ease design. I'll do the one in the back first, and then I'll show you the one in the front. So all I have to do is pretty much just put the fan close, slip it in, and then it holds perfectly just on there, no issues. And so, because you can see it better on this side, like I said, the wires come out on one side of the fan. Sorry, the one side of the fan right there. And so, all you have to do is just gently push it in there. And it holds the fan just fine. And of course, you just put that little clip right on here, and then you just push from the bottom. And because I put the rounded corner on there, it fits on there real nicely. But those never fall off. These are easy enough to take off, and you know, if I need to get in the way of something, I can just be like, alright, let me just get that fan out real quick. Okay, let me put this fan back on because I'm about to start to print, and bam, put it on there. They go on and come off so easily, it's ridiculous. And that's where I kind of wanted to get with this, because the one I downloaded off the internet, I felt like I was going to break it half the time because it took so much force to put onto the printer. They look great. They work magnificent. It's a toolless design. I can easily swap it out if I need to. This is all a design that is easily taken apart and put together in seconds. I'll show you all the other upgrades that I did in the next video, but this is the one that I've been doing the most work on. And so I just wanted to show you that first.